There's been a lot of speculation on where Chapter 4 is going to take place, but what people really need to be worried about is who's going to be the final boss. There may be some clues given to us in the new orientation book, and it's likely someone you wouldn't believe. The orientation book covers a wide range of different playtime toys, but the further deep into the book you get, the more you start seeing patterns that might lead us to the answer. Top of my list is none other than Poppy herself, Playtime's flagship toy and golden child. Poppy has been helping us navigate through the creepy hallways of Playtime Co. since the beginning. One may think she's just a kind-hearted toy who only wants to help us avenge the toys, except something doesn't add up. Poppy is the only toy who's constantly out of danger. For example, as toys wreaked havoc during the Hour of Joy, Poppy was safely tucked into her glass case by the prototype himself. Now the prototype is the toy that Poppy doesn't get along with and has been helping us take him down. Since we know that the prototype is the smartest toy of all, it's unlikely that he's unaware of Poppy's betrayal. So why did the evil toy save Poppy out of everyone, especially if he's aware she's going behind his back? If that doesn't raise red flags for you, then wait until you hear about the storage bay. The storage bay is where Poppy was held in Chapter 1 and actually holds a secret. In the orientation book, it specifically mentioned that Poppy's home is a strict no-go area. But guess who has constant access to it? Elliot Ludwig. Here's what the text says. There's a passage that leads directly from Elliot Ludwig's office to Poppy's room. I feel that might be significant, like he wanted to be able to visit Poppy. Why does the company owner want to stay in touch with Poppy? And how does this relate to the prototype? One theory that makes the most sense is that Poppy shares a close relationship with Elliot and has some sort of secret that only she knows, which is why the prototype is trying to keep her alive. But this leads to another question. What does the prototype gain from all of it? Why is he so obsessed with keeping Poppy safe? Well, the book suggests that Elliot Ludwig may still be alive and healthy in the form of the prototype. Check out this passage. Elliot Ludwig's room is usually kept locked, but cleaning staff keeps a key so they can get in to clean it. If you're cleaning staff, do not move anything in this office. In the lore, Elliot Ludwig is supposed to be dead, which raises some questions on why his room is cleaned on a consistent basis. It's a known theory that Poppy could be Elliot's daughter. If we consider the possibility that Elliot is actually alive, it would align with the prototype's constant efforts to protect Poppy. It's possible that the prototype is actually Poppy's father, Elliot Ludwig, who's trying to keep his daughter safe. For the other toys, it's tough to tell who the prototype really is. It's a secret that only Poppy and a few other factory employees would know. Even as a human, Elliot Ludwig was a private person who barely met with the employees. This is confirmed in the book as well. Even before Ludwig died, I never saw him around the factory. His office door was always closed, but was he in there or not? People talked about him like he was still running things, but it felt like he'd become detached from it all. The book also suggests that Elliot Ludwig was too small to be a CEO's room. It was as if it was just a front, and the real thing was hidden elsewhere. This suspicious behavior of Ludwig makes you wonder what the real reason for the prototype never showing his face. Is he really Elliot Ludwig, our ultimate final boss? If that's the case, then Poppy could just be his pawn, trying to lure us deeper into his web by gaining our trust. For 3 chapters, we have been doing everything Poppy has asked us to do, and it has only resulted in the death of toys who tried helping us. From Kissy Missy to Dog Day, all those who wanted the best for us ended up getting hurt. But coincidentally, we are deeper into the factory, and Poppy is still thriving. That's pretty suspicious. But Poppy isn't the only one on the list for potential bosses. There's another toy that likes to stay in the shadows but could potentially be the final boss in Chapter 4. Remember Boxy Boo, the toy who never tries to fake niceties? He's straight up evil, and the orientation book also puts him in the spotlight. Boxy Boo, who was basically Playtime's killing machine, doesn't have as many appearances in the game, but imagine my surprise when Mob Entertainment decided to end the orientation book with Boxy Boo. It can't be a coincidence. It likely means Boxy Boo's story is still loading, and he's gearing up to appear in Chapter 4, likely as the final boss. At first glance, Boxy Boo looks harmless, but he's deadly with his pointy teeth and giant size. While he's trained to kill, this truth is only known to a few employees, but the book suggests that deep down, everyone knew what Boxy Boo was, and that this truth would eventually come out. There's a tape of the Boxy Boo experiments. Thankfully, I don't think I'm on it, but it shows they knew. They knew what the creatures were capable of. We all knew. The truth will get out eventually. Maybe in the next chapter of Poppy Playtime, Boxy Boo will finally be unleashed upon the factory in his true feral form. Another clue in the book shows the player holding Boxy Boo in their hands. This further confirms that the giant toy story isn't over yet. It's actually just starting. When talking about toys that like to be quiet, Brawn comes to mind. To those who don't remember, Braun never died. Braun is the only adult toy in Poppy Playtime made out of an employee with lung cancer. But since Playtime Co. excelled at turning orphans into toys, they messed up Braun's equipment. As a result, Braun lost all of his memories and came back to life as a scared, disoriented toy. Now, here's why he could be the final boss. Braun was brutally assaulted by the other toys when he was placed in a room. Due to the attack, the company had to put him in solitary confinement for years, which may have destroyed his brain activity and turned him into a hostile toy. Now, no one knows what really happened to Braun, but it makes sense for him to come back and get revenge on the other toys. If that's the case, then Braun would have the potential to be as dangerous as the prototype. If we stick to our previous theory that the prototype is Elliot, then it indicates his intelligence is due to having an adult's brain. This means Braun would have a similar level of intelligence, since he's not like the other toys. He's basically a scientist. This could spell disaster for the other toys and for the factory as well. If that ends up being the case, Chapter 4 would be filled with action. My final guess for the villain in Chapter 4 is Huggy Wuggy, Playtime's most successful toy. Huggy Wuggy, who presumably died in Chapter 2, briefly appears in Chapter 3. While many think he's not really there, instead it's just a projection, I have a solid reason to believe he may return as a final boss. In the orientation book, the author says that Huggy Wuggy is a toy that will continue to get bigger in the 1990s. This suggests that he may not only return but also get bigger, big enough to crush the player with his Velcro-attached hands. A recent survey said 87% of people who were asked what product they associated the most with Playtime Co. named Huggy Wuggy. We believe that in the 1990s, Huggy Wuggy will only get bigger. But that's not the only reason why his return makes sense. In Poppy Playtime, cardboard cutouts of most toys have gone mute after their death. However, Huggy Wuggy's cutout still talks. That's not all. His sudden reappearance in Chapter 3 makes you wonder if Mob would really let go of their mascot that easily. I don't think so. Who do you think is an unlikely candidate to be the final boss in Chapter 4? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe and check out one of these videos on the screen.